Right now at 6, a local fire captain now charged with murdering his wife.
Is this really happening? Especially in, Washougal, our neighborhood. It's quiet.
Plus, the FBI tells passengers on board the flight where a door plug blew out they could potentially be victims of a crime.
This is extremely bad news for Boeing when the DOJ jumps in like this.
And could generosity be a reason some Oregon students are falling behind?
Students are missing more school and performing worse on assessments, and yet many of them are still getting A's and B's.
The new research that points to grade inflation.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Our top story at 6, a developing investigation into a local fire captain now accused of murdering his wife. She died in January when her husband told 911 she had suffered a seizure. Now, weeks later, detectives say the evidence shows something else. Ashley Grams is live in Washougal with new details and reaction from neighbors. Ashley?
Yeah, everyone I talked to today just saying how sad this is for the family and for the children. That Washougal firefighter is accused of killing his wife. He was arrested just this morning, and he faces first-degree murder charges. On January 8th at this home in Washougal, police say Kevin West called 911. He's a fire battalion chief for the Camas Washougal Fire Department in Southwest Washington. West said his wife was having a seizure and had stopped breathing.
I was just watching everything unfold and ended up finding out that Marcy had passed, and that was very sad to hear.
Tabitha Schaefer lives next door and heard West's wife, Marcy, had passed away on January 8th.
They're very neighborly, lovely family.
But soon law enforcement was back at the house.
Undercover police in his driveway and bringing out items, I would assume, as evidence.
Krista Paris lives further down the street. She saw the officers coming and going. The Clark County Sheriff's Office says they took over the investigation, and several people said they were concerned about the couple's relationship and worried Marcy's death wasn't a seizure at all. Then in March, the medical examiner determined Marcy died from asphyxia and trauma to her neck.
Yeah, you're kind of just in shock. Like, is it really happening? Is this really happening? Especially in, Washougal, our neighborhood. It's quiet.
West was arrested and charged with first-degree murder on Wednesday.
It's terrible because of the kids.
That's the last thing that you would think would happen.
West is expected to make his first court appearance on Monday, and he faces a first-degree murder charge. David?
Ashley Grams in Washougal this evening. Thank you, Ashley. A reminder, if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, there are resources that can help. They include the National Domestic Violence Hotline that is available 24/7. That number, 800-799-7233. In your headlines this Friday, a man is dead and his alleged attacker facing murder charges after a pre-dawn assault in southeast Portland. This was around 4:30 this morning on the East Bank Esplanade under the Hawthorne Bridge right next to Fire Station 21. Police say bystanders intervened in the assault and helped fire crews respond to the injured man, but he died at the scene. His name has not been released yet. The suspect, who police just identified as 29-year-old Abel Nister, was also injured and was taken to the hospital. He has since been released and then booked into the county jail on a charge of second-degree murder. Teachers in the Salem-Keizer School District have voted to authorize a strike, meaning they could walk off the job as soon as early next month. The union representing those teachers says 94% of its members voted yes. The union and administration declared an impasse last month after 10 months of contract negotiations. Class sizes and teacher workloads remain some of the biggest sticking points, with the district currently facing a $330 million budget shortfall. And there's a big mess in North Portland this evening after a pressurized sewer line ruptured, spilling sewage into the Columbia Slough and closing down a key bridge. The break was discovered Thursday under the North Columbia Boulevard overpass in the industrial area west of St. John's. City Environmental Services says crews have contained but not stopped the spill. They're advising everyone to avoid water in the slough due to bacteria concerns. Repairs are expected to take at least 2 weeks here. The stretch of North Columbia will be closed for at least the next week. Matt?
All right, David, thank you. We've had rain rolling through the Portland area in the last hour or so. Looking out from our Wells Fargo sky cam, looks like there's a few breaks in the clouds over by Mount Tabor, but it's a cloudy one. We're down to 56, and again, there are still showers here, but look at the coast. Wow, things have really improved at Newport. Clear blue sky there after some rain moved on through. Temperature there also 56. And this is how the weekend is going to go. We'll get rain, then we'll get some dry time. We may not get the clear blue sky that Newport is enjoying at the moment, but there will be periods of dry weather. Here's the rain that's moving through right now, and it's almost already pushed through Portland, some back over the Coast Range and up over the Cascade foothills, but we should see things dry out for a bit this evening. Then we're going to get into some more rain tomorrow morning, then a break, then more rain Sunday morning, and then a break. I think Sunday late, Sunday afternoon, evening will be the driest part of the weekend. Saturday morning, likely the wettest part. And we're tracking what may end up being a pretty strong spring storm for the middle of next week. More on that in a bit, David.
Yeah, welcome to spring break, right? Thanks, Matt. We are following new developments this evening in the door plug blowout on board Alaska 1282, with the FBI now reaching out to passengers saying they could potentially be the victims of a crime. Blair Best joins us live at PDX. Blair, this confirms the feds have opened a criminal investigation. What do we know?
David, the FBI sent that letter this week to passengers who were on board that chaotic flight, and this is after those passengers sued Boeing and the airline, arguing negligence leading up to what happened. Passenger video from Alaska Airline Flight 1282 shows the harrowing moments after a panel blew off this Boeing 737 MAX 9 twin jet at 16,000 feet, forcing an emergency landing at Portland International Airport on January 5th. Everyone on board survived. Passengers sued, alleging Boeing and the airline were negligent in the lead up to the incident.
Engineers and technicians told them that the plane should be taken out of service, but they kept it in service. Passengers were on that plane, and that was a dangerous decision.
This week, the FBI is getting involved, sending this letter to passengers saying they could be victims of a crime. Mark Lindquist's firm represents 27 of those passengers.
This is highly unusual for the Department of Justice to be investigating an aviation incident where nobody died, but this is the result of cumulative errors and negligence by Boeing.
It's something I think about.
Linda was catching an Alaska Airlines Boeing flight from PDX to Boston on Friday. She chose an aisle seat, away from any doors.
I just have to be realistic about that, especially with Boeing. Recently, there's been extra issues.
I flew out on Sunday. The couple sitting next to me, as soon as they sat down, the first comment was, well, good thing there's not a panel right here. We don't have to worry about it blowing out.
Alaska Airlines told KGW in a statement, in an event like this, it's normal for the DOJ to conduct an investigation. We are fully cooperating and do not believe we are a target of the investigation. Boeing declined to comment.
This is extremely bad news for Boeing when the DOJ jumps in like this.
I fly Alaska Airlines. I trust them. Maybe Boeing has some work to do, but there's human error. There's always human error, right?
All right, so the attorneys representing those on board tell us they aren't surprised the FBI is getting involved here, seeing as this is affecting trust in transportation nationwide. David? Yeah, to Linda's point there, I think it's something we all think about from time to time. Thank you, Blair. We're continuing to cover efforts in the Salem-Keizer School District to make their middle and high schools safer. This following a rise in shootings in the city involving young people. Sydney Dorner is live in Salem with the update tonight. Sydney?
David, today the Salem-Keizer School District invited students to test out metal detectors here at Stevens Middle School. These detectors would allow students to walk right through without having to remove items from their pockets or bags, all with the goal of making them feel safer on campus. Oh, was that me? Salem-Keizer School District is currently in the decision-making process of implementing metal detectors like these across all middle and high schools. Superintendent Andrea Castaneda said they'd been considering the move since last fall, noting an increase in gun violence in the area, including amongst young people.
Firearm-related incidents are increasing across the whole city. They're increasing across age groups. And this isn't something that is catching us off guard, not as a city and not as a school district.
But when South Salem student Jose Vasquez Valenzuela was shot and killed earlier this month near the school, she says the district wanted to act sooner.
Would alert here.
Vendors we spoke with say the metal detectors allow students to quickly pass through without taking out their phone, keys, or any other metals.
I can walk through without having to take anything out of my pockets, without having to take anything out of my bags. I'm able to just walk through at speed. And then I'm able to see exactly where, if anywhere, I need to search. That allows me to get to school on time. It also allows the people operating the system to focus on smiling and greeting people and not worrying about having to frisk and scan every bag.
Superintendent Castaneda says the school district needs to cut $30 million from their budget next year. If they plan to move ahead with these weapon detectors, they would cost around $800,000, coming from a restricted fund that can't be used for staffing.
We will need to think about how we use our staff differently and make sure that if we move forward with a decision like this, it's staffed so that it can be both effective and also welcoming.
Now, decisions regarding implementation and timing have not been made yet. At the event today, families were given a QR code where they can provide feedback. The district says they will look this over before making the next move. In Salem, I'm Sydney Dorner. David, back to you.
Thank you, Sydney. And straight ahead at 6, are some Oregon students getting the same grades for doing less or easier work? Why some say grade inflation is to blame for kids falling further behind. And let the madness continue as the pilots head home from Kansas, sorry to say. All eyes are on Corvallis with the Beavers women right now fighting hard in round 1.